G'day, my name's Charles MacKenzie and I'm a patient advocate based here in Sydney, Australia. A little bit of background on me. Over the last 20 years, I've helped force a number of investigations and inquiries into Australia's healthcare system. Right at this minute, my chief concern is Australia's medical watchdog, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, or TGA. Now, in 2012, I was horrified to learn about what was called the PIP breast implant scandal, and how 20,000 Australian women could ever have these fraudulent implants that leaked and ruptured and were made of non-medical grade industrial silicone, and how that could ever have been allowed to be approved by the TGA. They hadn't even checked it. They just basically looked to see what the European regulator was doing in the case of PIP. If the European regulator said that they had approved it, the TGA literally would just rubber stamp the thing and allow it. That's the level of safety we have in Australia. That got me thinking, what's wrong with this TGA? I started talking to experts and they agreed this TGA is a front for big business. Its first priority, they say, is for patients, but in actuality, the first priority is to help their industry mates sell these terrible devices and put them into Australians. So what have we had here? We've had toxic hips. We've had dodgy joint prosthesis. We've had pacemakers that fail. We've had these terrible contraceptive implants that have been so devastating for the women that have had those implanted. The TGA, how could you ever approve that junk that you didn't even look or handle with your own hands? Just terrible. And then we have, of course, the absolute reprehensible, tragic, and even criminal pelvic mesh scandal here in Australia. 20,000 Australian women having these terrible things put into them. We now know that some of that may be due to fraud and even some really dodgy studies, and no studies at all. And yet the TGA, the first action is to allow these things to happen. Big business from overseas comes calling. They manufacture these terrible devices, and what it seems as though the TGA are basically allowing us to be used as guinea pigs. We've got shoulder implants that the ABC locally here in Australia have told us that the manufacturer had no real approval, got through the back door into Australia and was approved, and effectively had the people that had them implanted used as guinea pigs. The TGA and their big business friends would never allow this to happen routinely in other leading medical markets, but they use us as a kind of colony, an outpost to test some of their prototypes before they're willing to put it in seemingly more important American patients or overseas patients. This is just not acceptable, and this is why I'm starting a campaign to recall and replace the TGA. I really do hope that if you have patients' interests or safety at heart, that you'll help and support this campaign. Let's replace the Therapeutic Goods Administration with a proper medical watchdog that supports patient safety first. Thank you very much.